Hey everyone, what's up? Um, yeah, I thought I'd come out here and do a review of Trolls. Yeah, I did see Trolls over this Thanksgiving weekend. Originally, me and my family was supposed to see Moana, me and my mom, that is. We were going to see Moana with my older sister, but she had to work and she said she'd let us know. And we didn't get no call, no text, no vibration on our phones. So apparently she decided not to go. Mostly because originally she was supposed to get out of her work between 2 and 2:30, and she ended up working, I think, a little later, just maybe by an hour or so. I'm not really sure. So we stopped at my other sister's in Modesto, and we're thinking, okay, my mom was thinking, all right, we're here in town. Let's go see if they're home, say hi. Because she's thinking, okay, if they're not home, we'll just go back to our house. If they're home, we'll stop by and say hi. Fortunately, they were home. They were supposed to, go to Sacramento because my second oldest sister, who lives in Modesto, her husband, now her husband's job transferred him over to one of the areas in Sacramento as one of the head bosses, one of the head managers, if you will. And that's about a 2 hour drive for him. So he has to basically now, he and his family now have to basically find a closer location so the drive isn't so bad. So anyway, we had just, basically, long story short, we met up with them after they had had a little bit of a brunch. They had canceled the trip to go to Sacramento because, it was raining. So they had made plans, I guess, to do that. I think originally they had made plans to go to Sacramento, probably eat something and go see Trolls. Well, they went and ate brunch, relaxed a little bit, and then we went with them to go see Trolls. My sister, my second oldest sister, had invited us, and my mom was like, "Oh yeah, sure." She tried to talk my 9-year-old nephew into seeing Moana, but he wanted to see Trolls. I think it was evident by the fact that they had one of the McDonald figures, which was Poppy, and we ended up, like I said, going to see it, and I always and honestly, it was pretty good. It's really good. I mean, not to give much away here, but it was a very good movie. I mean, the colors were very vibrant. They popped on screen. It was just very good. Overall, just a very good family film. And yes, you could tell that at times it is targeted towards a younger audience, but it does have elements for all ages. It really does. It does have elements for all ages, and it shows. It really does. Uh, like I said, not to give much away, but the way the story goes is basically, the way the movie begins is it begins with an origin story uh, told by Poppy through a scrapbook. Well, a scrapbook and flashbacks. Basically, um, basically, the trolls end up becoming the appetite, becoming the, how do I put this? Trolls end up becoming a delicacy for the Bergens, which are ogres, because they don't know what happiness is and they want that, and they figure, hey, if we eat a troll, we'll gain that happiness from them. And so that starts off what is, dubbed as Trollston, Trollstis, which is kind of like a Christmas, where once a year all the Bergens come together to eat trolls. So basically, what happens is in the flashback, the trolls find a way to outsmart the Bergens by placing dummies, which are basically parodies or callbacks to the original troll dolls, if you will, in the little like little cocoons or something like that they're kept in. So they're able to escape, outsmart the Bergens, and they're able to find a new home in the process somewhere in the woods. Now, because of this, the head chef, whose name is Chef, she ends up getting banished because of this, because of the fact that she failed to deliver on what she usually does every year. So fast forward 20 years later, and the trolls, mostly Poppy, who's basically a young adult now, basically, you know, is very close to being queen, she decides to throw a party to celebrate 20th anniversary of being freed from the Bergens, celebrate, being free and everything and being happy and having everything they've always wanted again, always had at one time, just celebrate being free and happy and dance and, all that. And Poppy's all for it. And Poppy, again, like I said, voiced by Anna Kendrick, who does a phenomenal job here, wants to put this party on and basically celebrate, like I said, 20 years of freedom. Branch, however, who is the exact opposite of her, who's voiced by Justin Timberlake, and he does a phenomenal job. He's basically a very paranoid but more down-to-earth, realistic troll. He's like, hey, if you do this part, he basically tells Poppy, hey, you do this party, you're screwing everybody. You're screwing all the trolls around here because the Bergens, who are still out there, will find us if you do this. If you throw this party, you put the music up and loud and all that, you're going to basically screw us all. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happens, because just as just as they're throwing that party, the chef Bergen, if you will, who's in the woods as well, I guess hermiting or something like that, still looking for trolls, ends up hearing the music, gets out her telescope that she built, and she ends up seeing basically evidence of where the trolls are, and she tracks them down, and she ends up getting, um, uh, um, Creek, Chanel, and Santin. Uh, can't think of. Basically, she ends up getting the big troll with the pet, the conjoined hair twins, the giraffe-like troll, the glitter troll, the Zen-like troll. She ends up getting them or capturing them. And so she decides, hey, it's my fault that I did this. It's my responsibility to go rescue them. And that's what she proceeds to do, along with the help of Branch, who at first is reluctant to do it until she's able to, I guess you could say, trick him into do it or manipulate or con him into do it, because she basically what happens is she ends up going to where he's hiding out. He basically ends up showing her that he has a lot more he's a lot there's a lot more to his bunker than what it seems. And so she's able to use that to her advantage to not only get him to go with her, but keep the other trolls and her father safe and hidden from the Bergens. So basically, this causes Branch, who ends up being who Poppy ends up leaving at the time at the moment of hug time. This causes Branch to go out and follow her, save her from being eaten by spider-like creatures, well, basically the spiders, and goes along with her on the quest because he knows she can't do it without him. And she basically went through everything. She sings the Get Back Up song. She goes into a little bit of a coma, near death thing, gets revived. But she does this because she knew he was going to show up or something. I don't know. So they end up going on the quest together to go save their friends. They end up finding Bergentown thanks to a smart aleck Cloud character. And they end up going to Bergentown, and they end up going into the castle, and they find out, and they end up getting, well, basically when they get to Bergentown, they get to the castle, they find out that they're in a little, well, not in over their heads, but there's a lot more than they bargained for at this castle. That there's a lot more they need, that they're going to be thrown into, a lot more events they're getting thrown into besides rescuing their friends. So they find out that Bridget, who the scholar maid, is in love with formerly Prince Gristle in the flashback, but now king since his father's passed on. Finds out that Bridget is in love with the king. So they help her, try to win him over. So basically, what happens is Branch and um, so basically, what happens is after Branch and Poppy are able to free the friends, except for Creek, who they witness being eaten or they think has been eaten, they end up striking a deal. They say, "Hey, we'll help you, you help us," end of story. So they help her end up bringing over the king, going on it, thus having her and the king go on a date. And the way they do this basically is because one of the traits of the trolls is they're able to grow their hair long and shape it into what they need, onto anything they want, but they're also able to change it into multicolors. So they change it, they basically merge their hair together into a wig to disguise Bridget, and Bridget as a glitter sparkle. So again, long story short, not to give much away, she ends up going on the date with the king because she wins him over with her beauty and her charm. And as they're trying to help her say the right things to him, it's Branch, of all people, who ends up helping her win him over even more. Because Branch does admit he can sing, does admit he's a romantic, he just chooses not to be because of a tragic incident in his past as a child. So basically, they help Bridget win the king over. Um, but then after that, they end up going that through the whole you know, everything's looking up and now everything's starting to look down, just like that kind of deal and situation. The trials and error of the everything's looking up, looking down situation. They go through all the trials and errors. They end up, and the end, they end up finding out that Creek, who they thought was eaten, but then was revealed to be alive, independent in the jewel that is connected to the King's Cape. They end up finding out that Creek had sold them out. Basically, Creek um, basically, I mean, what it comes down to is Creek turns out to be nothing more than a coward, a self-serving coward that only cares about his own safety and nobody else's. So he ends up betraying them. He ends up taking Poppy's cowbell out of her hair and using it to lure all the other trolls out of hiding, out of Branch's bunker, and getting ambushed by the chef Bergen and the other Bergen cooks. And what I like about this is it shows, because it showed it with the flashback for Branch, but it also shows that when the trolls think there's no happiness, there's nothing to be happy about, that everything is lost, that they lose their color, and their color is their happiness, and they turn gray. And I like that because it shows when you're sad, you feel gray, you feel dark and everything, but when you're happy, you feel colorful and bright. So I like that trait there. And I enjoyed, and I will say this, I did enjoy Branch, who was voiced by Justin Timberlake, like I said, singing his rendition of True Colors to help encourage him, mostly Poppy, to get back on their feet and realize, hey, there could be worse things, but you need to be true to yourself. You cannot let the badness come to you. And it's through his rendition of True Colors that Branch admits he loves Poppy, and that kind of brings that happiness back out on her, and she starts to sing in a duet with him, admitting the same thing towards him. And long story short, the trolls get back to happiness and everything, even though they're on the verge of being eaten. So to wrap this up, basically, long story short, uh, Bridget is able to help the trolls escape, but Poppy feels it's unfair that she has to sacrifice herself to save the troll, that Bridget has to sacrifice herself to save the trolls and get them to freedom, or help them get to freedom. So she wants her to have happiness just as they are having happiness, but she also believes that the Bergens themselves deserve happiness as well, the right way. So basically, she and her friends, along with the other trolls, show back up just as Bridget's going to be, done in for, and reveal by kind of going back on Bridget's head that she is the King State Glitter Sparkle. And this gives Bridget the courage to basically admit that, hey, I've always had a crush on you. I'm the one you've been looking for. I'm that happiness. I'm what you're looking for and all that. And it's through all this that Poppy, along with Branch and the other trolls, are able to convince them, hey, when you guys were out together, did you eat trolls to be happy? No, you were happy because you had the happiness inside you the whole time. And this gets revealed to the other Bergen ogres and all the other Bergens, and they do this through, and the way they prove this is through a song number, a song dance number, which is called "Can't Stop This Feeling" or "Can't Stop the Feeling," and it's a really good number, just tremendous. And overall, in the end, everything turns out all right. Chef, along with Creek, who is hiding in her pouch, if you will, a little belt pouch or whatever. What was those? What was those things we used to wear? Those little pouches, or whatever. Her and Creek end up getting thrown out of the castle on a serving table that catches fire, and everything turns out hunky dory, I guess you could say. The ogres, not the ogres, but the troll's original home, the tree, comes back to life, and Poppy becomes queen, and they all live happily ever after. Literally, they do. Basically, the Bergens and the trolls live in peace. And again, I know I gave some away, and I do apologize about that. But overall, this was a pretty good movie. I do recommend it seeing it once, maybe twice. I do highly recommend getting the soundtrack. I really do. And it is a movie that once or twice, if you go and see it once or twice, it is the kind of movie that when it comes out to Blu-ray and DVD and digital HD and 4K, you definitely want to get and add to your home video collection. You really do. So overall, just a very good movie. Like I said, you could probably see it once or twice. I will agree with Animat on one thing. It is, like I said earlier, kind of targeted towards a younger audience at some moments, but there are some things in there for the adults. And like I said, it is a movie that you definitely should add to your collection when it comes out to Blu-ray, DVD, 4K HD, and digital HD down the line. If you have 4K and 1080p, you definitely want to get it. So that's all I'm really going to say on it. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It's a movie you could see maybe once or twice, but definitely after that, you definitely want to put on your list as a movie you want to get when it comes out to home video. So that's all I'm going to say, folks. Let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like. What did you think about Trolls? And I'll talk. And what did you think about Trolls? And if you if you saw it, and I'll talk to you all later. I do apologize for any spoilers given, and that's all I'm going to say. I mean, let's be honest. With spoilers, you're bound to get them either through videos like this, or articles, or places like Wikipedia, or articles from like TuneZone.com or wherever. So let me know what you guys think about it, though. Did you see Trolls? What are your thoughts on it? And I'll talk to you all later.